Coco Gauff just accomplished something that an American hasn't done in a decade. Let's talk about it. That's right, for the first time in 10 years, since 2015, an American just won the French Open. Yeah, and that person is 21-year-old Coco Gauff. And if you're wondering who the last American to win in 2015 was, it was Serena Williams.
Coco Gauff just broke a decade's OLD record and then became France's biggest fan. The story nobody is talking about.
That we are about to embark on. Like, Coco Gauff is already a household name. She's already cemented.
Okay, people, hold on to your tennis rackets because Paris is absolutely on fire right now. And if you are not watching what is happening at Roland Garros 2026, you are genuinely missing one of the most electric sporting stories of the entire year. We have got a reigning champion quietly rewriting American tennis history while simultaneously going full hype woman for a 17-year-old kid who just made grown men twice his age look absolutely silly on the biggest clay court in the world. This is Chatterbox, and today we are diving deep into the double storyline that has the tennis world buzzing, gasping, and reaching for the tissues all at once. Let us start with the queen herself, Coco Gauff, 22 years old, defending French Open champion, and as of this week, the winningest American woman in Roland Garros history before turning 23. Let that land for a second. Not the winningest American woman of the last few years. Not the winningest of this generation. The winningest ever. Before her 23rd birthday. With her second-round victory over Egypt's Mayar Sharif this past Thursday, Gauff picked up her 29th career win at Roland Garros, surpassing the record previously held by Mary-Jo Fernandez, with Serena Williams sitting third on that all-time list. That is not just impressive. That is the kind of number that makes tennis historians put down their coffee and stare at the wall for a moment. And the way she won. Effortless. Clinical. Dominant. A 6-3, 6-2 scoreline against Sharif, a qualifier who had absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. But Gauff did not give her even a sniff. This is what defending champions do. This is what players who belong at the top of the sport look like when they are locked in and focused. The record she just broke stood for decades. Mary-Jo Fernandez was a legend of American tennis, a player who reached 2 French Open finals and gave everything she had on Parisian clay. And Coco Gauff, at 22, has already gone one further. It is genuinely staggering. But here is the thing that makes this story even richer. Even as she is out there breaking all-time records, collecting her 80th career Grand Slam victory, becoming the youngest woman to reach that milestone since Maria Sharapova did it at 20 years old back in 2008. Even as all of that is happening, Coco Gauff spent part of her Thursday watching someone else steal the show on the very same court she was scheduled to play on. And instead of being frustrated, instead of being precious about the delay to her match, she became that someone else's biggest fan. And the way she talked about it afterward? Pure class. Now, if you have not heard the name Moise Kouame yet, please go ahead and tattoo it somewhere visible, because this kid is a phenomenon. He is 17 years old. 17. He came into the 2026 French Open ranked 318th in the world.
Hey guys, here is Moise. I'm super happy getting my first men's Grand Slam win. Thank you for all the support. It means a lot to me, and hope to see you.
Playing his very first Grand Slam tournament. Handed a wild card by the French Federation, and he has proceeded to turn Roland Garros into his personal coming-of-age blockbuster film. In the first round, he walked out onto court Simone Matthew and dismantled Marin Cilic, a former U.S. Open champion, a Roland Garros semifinalist, a man who has been competing at the highest level of the sport for 2 decades, in straight sets. The score was 7-6, 6-2, 6-1. Cilic is 20 years older than Kouame. That is not a tennis match. That is a generational handover ceremony. That first-round win already made him the youngest player to win a Grand Slam match since Bernard Tomic did it at 16 back at the 2009 Australian Open. The youngest man to advance past the first round at Roland Garros since Romania's Dinu Pescariu in 1991. records that had sat untouched for over 30 years, and this teenager walked in off the streets of Paris and knocked them down before the tournament had even got going. And then came the second round. And this is where the story gets truly extraordinary. Kouame faced Paraguay's Adolfo Daniel Vallejo on court Suzanne Lenglen on Thursday. And what unfolded over the next 5 hours was one of the most dramatic, gut-wrenching, soul-stirring matches you will see all year. Kouame came flying out of the gate, winning the first 2 sets 6-3 and 7-5. At that point, you could feel the momentum. You could feel the crowd, already in love with this kid, beginning to dare to dream about something special. And then Vallejo, ranked 71st in the world and vastly more experienced, flipped the match completely on its head. He took the third set 6-3, then the fourth 6-2, and suddenly the teenager who had been so composed, so serene, so frighteningly poised, was in the fight of his young life. And this is where Coco Gauff enters the story in the most wonderful, wholesome way. Because Gauff was scheduled third on court Suzanne Lenglen that afternoon. She was sitting backstage, warming up, ready to go, while Kouame and Vallejo were out there fighting what became a nearly 5-hour epic. Her match was delayed significantly. Most players in that situation would be climbing the walls, losing their focus, getting irritated by the disruption to their routine. Gauff, she was watching and rooting, and when Kouame finally won, she went to find him. At her post-match press conference, after she had dispatched Sharif without dropping a set, Gauff was asked about the young Frenchman. And what she said was genuinely beautiful. She told the room that people do not truly understand how insane what Kouame did that day actually was. Playing your first ever 5-set match, at a Grand Slam, in front of your home crowd, going up 2 sets to love, and then watching your opponent claw all the way back. Most players, she said, when they lose that kind of lead, they collapse mentally. The pressure becomes too much. The crowd goes quiet. The body starts to feel the weight of what has been lost.
Coco, hello. Did you see what Moise Kouame did today?
Of course.
What do you think about his performances at 17 and in front of his crowd?
Yeah, I think people don't realize how crazy what he did today, playing the first 5-setter in the French crowd up 2 sets to love. And most people, I think most players, when they lose that lead, kind of can collapse. And he kept fighting, and I think that this...
But Kouame kept fighting. Through the third set, through the fourth, through 5-3 down in the fifth. He just kept going. Gauff told the press she genuinely believes this kid is going to be a big talent, that he seems to have a good family around him, that she was rooting for him even though she did not know him personally. And then she delivered the line of the tournament so far, with that quick wit and easy charm that makes her so magnetic. She told Kouame after the match, and I quote, "I wish this was 3 sets, because I am here way past where I thought I was supposed to be." But she said she was glad he won, and that she was going to be a fan of his for his whole career. For sure, that is the kind of thing that tells you everything you need to know about Coco Gauff as a person. She could have been annoyed. She had every right to be. She is the defending champion. She is the 4th seed. She had her own preparation and routine to manage. Instead, she saw something special happening on the court she was waiting to play on, and she embraced it completely. She recognized a generational talent in real time and had the grace and the heart to say so out loud. Now, both of these extraordinary players have third-round matches coming up, and neither of them is going to be a walk in the park. For Gauff, she will face the 28th-seeded Anastasia Potapova in what promises to be a proper battle. Potapova is no pushover. She made the semifinals of the Madrid Open recently and has been playing genuinely excellent clay court tennis this entire season. More concerning for Gauff is the fact that Potapova holds wins over her in their recent meetings, meaning the defending champion cannot afford to be anything less than her best. Gauff's overall record at Roland Garros sits at a pristine 29 wins and just 5 losses, and she has reached at least the quarterfinals in 5 straight appearances. She is not going to fold against Potapova, but she is going to have to work for it. And then there is the wider context of the 2026 women's draw, which makes Gauff's position even more intriguing. Several top seeds have already exited the tournament in shocking early upsets. The upset bug that has been circling Roland Garros this week has bitten hard, with big names tumbling left and right. The path to a second consecutive French Open title is beginning to take shape, and if Gauff can get through Potapova, the road ahead looks increasingly favorable for someone of her caliber. She is playing with the confidence of a champion who knows she belongs here. She has done it before. She can do it again. For Kouame, the third-round opponent is Chilean Alejandro Tabailo, who comes into the match well-rested, having received a bye into this round when his scheduled opponent withdrew from the tournament. Tabailo is a significant step up in class from what Kouame has faced so far, a seasoned professional who is physically powerful and has extensive experience on clay. But here is the thing about Kouame that nobody should underestimate. This kid has not shown any sign whatsoever of being overwhelmed by the occasion. He walked into Roland Garros ranked 318th and beat a former major champion in straight sets. He survived a 5-set war against a more experienced opponent. He plays with a composure and a freedom that belies his age completely. And the French crowd is absolutely central to this story. Anyone who has ever been to Roland Garros or watched a match there knows that the Parisian tennis faithful are among the most passionate, vocal, and at times borderline ferocious sports crowds on the planet. They want a French champion. They have wanted one for over 4 decades. The last Frenchman to win Roland Garros was Yannick Noah back in 1983, 43 years ago. Kouame has that crowd. Fully. Completely. The atmosphere during his second-round match was described as borderline uncontrollable at points, with officials needing to settle the crowd down to allow play to continue. That energy is a weapon. It can lift a player to heights they might not reach alone. And right now, it is fully pointed in the direction of a 17-year-old kid from France who said before this tournament that his dream job was driving a Formula One car. Tennis might have just given him a reason to reconsider. The draw around Kouame in the men's singles is also fascinating, with Jannik Sinner having been eliminated in a shocking second-round exit. Part of the broader chaos that has defined the men's draw this year, the top half of the bracket has been blown wide open. Among the seeds still remaining in that section are Felix Auger-Aliassime, Flavio Kobali, Lerner Tien, Francis Tiafoe, Francisco Cerundolo, and Brandon Nakashima. None of those names are going to cause casual fans to fall off their chairs in terror. The path to a Roland Garros final from that half of the draw is more navigable than it would be in almost any other year. The realistic possibility of an unseeded finalist, maybe even a 17-year-old Frenchman playing his first Grand Slam, is not entirely outside the realm of imagination. Is it likely? No. But tennis stopped caring about likely the moment Kouame walked onto that court in round 1 and dismantled Marin Cilic. What makes this whole story so compelling, beyond the individual achievements, is what these two players represent together. Coco Gauff is proof of what relentless dedication and mental fortitude look like when they are fully developed. She has been on the big stage since she was 15 years old, when she shocked the world at Wimbledon and announced herself to global audiences who had never heard her name. She has dealt with the weight of expectation, the pressure of being the next great American tennis player, the demands of being a black woman excelling in a predominantly white sport, the mental toll of near misses and painful losses. And she came out the other side of all of it with 2 Grand Slam titles, a record-breaking win total at Roland Garros, and the kind of composure under pressure that her peers genuinely marvel at. Moise Kouame is what the very beginning of that journey looks like. The raw excitement. The fearlessness that comes from not yet knowing what you are supposed to be afraid of. The pure joy of competing on the biggest stage for the first time, without the baggage of previous defeats or the anxiety of previous near misses. He said himself that he went into his first-round match knowing that even if he lost, he would have had fun. That mindset, that freedom, is extraordinary. And it is exactly what enabled him to fight back from 2 sets down in the 5th and win the biggest match of his career so far. And the moment that connects them, the moment when a 2-time Grand Slam champion sought out a 17-year-old wildcard after a 5-hour match and told him she wished his win had come quicker because it made her late. That moment captures everything beautiful about sport. The generosity, the recognition of greatness by greatness, the passing of a torch that has not fully left the first hand yet. Coco Gauff is not done. She is 22 and she is hunting a second consecutive French Open title. But she had the time and the heart to stop and acknowledge what Kouame did, and to tell the world about it, and that matters. Paris is electric right now. The courts at Roland Garros have never been busier with storylines, with drama, with record-breaking moments and teenage sensations, and defending champions on historic runs. And we are still only in the third round. There is so much more tennis to be played, so many more moments waiting to unfold on that beautiful red clay. Whether it is Gauff lifting the trophy for the second straight year, or Kouame continuing his fairy tale run into the second week and beyond, or both of those things happening at the same time, the 2026 French Open is shaping up to be one for the ages. And you are going to want to be watching every single second of it. That is the story as it stands right now from Roland Garros. And honestly, it is one of the best sports stories running anywhere in the world at this moment. If you enjoyed this breakdown, if this got you fired up about tennis and reminded you why sport has this incredible power to connect us and move us and make us feel things we did not expect to feel, then do us a huge favor. Smash that like button, drop a comment down below, and let us know who you are backing at Roland Garros this year. And if you are new here, please subscribe to Chatterbox so you never miss a story like this one. We cover the moments that matter, the stories behind the headlines, and we bring them to you with all the drama and energy they deserve. We will see you in the next one.